Greetings, Star Warrior.
Welcome to the Outer Rim. Recently, there has been an interesting development at Lucasfilm, and really all it does is confirm things that a lot of people have been saying. I first caught wind of this watching one of Stephanie Janasek's videos, and man, she is like on the ball with information. I mean, stuff that I eventually end up talking about, I often heard from her first. And, but basically this thing confirms a lot of the stuff that, so many of us have been talking about lately. Abu Na, Stephanie Janasek, The Gospel According to Mark with a C, all these YouTubers that have been discussing the controversy around Disney Star Wars for months. So if you're listening to this now, you may or may not have heard that there's a theory going around that Disney hates Luke Skywalker. And if you've been listening to my videos or Stephanie's or Dark Sinovia or Abu Nas or The Gospel According to Mark with a C, if you've been listening to any of these channels, then you know that we've been talking about this sort of thing for a long time. But now there's evidence of it that sort of stands on its own, aside from The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens and all that stuff. Rian Johnson would have everyone believe that The Last Jedi was actually a love letter to Luke Skywalker, and that's just some brainwashing bullshit that no one should fall for, even if they like Rian Johnson. But now we have tangible evidence that Lucasfilm hates Luke Skywalker, and as far as I'm concerned, when you put it together with everything else, it's pretty much proof. The evidence exists in the form of this image right here. It decorates the work area of a Lucasfilm employee. Now, I showed the image to a person I'm very close to, and this person hates The Last Jedi. It has, in the past, been a very, staunch supporter of Star Wars and a fan of Star Wars, but now they are totally disillusioned with Lucasfilm, Disney, and Star Wars. But, after seeing this image, this person was not convinced that it meant that Lucasfilm hates Luke Skywalker. And of course, I'm in the midst of a rebellion against Disney, and so I see a bigger picture, and really, the bigger picture is not hatred for Luke Skywalker, although that is a factor in the big picture. The big picture is that Disney hates good characters, that either, one, they don't own, or two, a character that needs to be replaced for one reason or another so that they don't feel that they can get anything out of that character. So to illustrate this more clearly, I'm going to take the most famous Disney character I can think about, Mickey Mouse. There may be a more famous one, but if it is, I don't know of it. Let's say that for one reason or another, Disney felt the need to replace Mickey Mouse. They weren't going to be making Mickey Mouse merchandise. They were not going to be featuring him in any more media. Mickey Mouse was going to be done. Well, you need to replace that guy so that you don't lose the audience that loves Mickey Mouse. The basic idea right there. That's going to be very hard to do. I don't know why you would do that, but stranger things have happened, right? So, you need to replace Mickey Mouse, and the first thing you do is try to come up with characters to do so. In the midst of doing this, your main concern is going to be, what if people do not accept this new character? I mean, there's always going to be some people who do, but Disney has made, tons of characters in the past 60, 70, 80 years, however long they've been around, and none of them have been as accepted the way Mickey Mouse has been accepted as the face of Disney. So with all of this in mind, if you're in this situation and you're Disney, what's the fastest way to get people to accept something new? Well, first you have to demonize whatever it is that you're trying to get rid of. You have to demonize Mickey Mouse. You have to make him look bad. And at the same time, you have to present them with the new property, the new solution. You have to tell them, Mickey Mouse was a failure, but here's Screwball Squirrel. And Screwball Squirrel is going to fix all the problems that Mickey Mouse created by being an utter failure. This is a tactic that is not revolutionary in fiction. It's been used over and over and over again for decades, just not very often with characters as popular as Mickey Mouse, or Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. It's not a tactic that the actual creators of these characters generally ever employ. The person who creates Mickey Mouse would never do that to Mickey Mouse. The person who creates Superman would never do that to Superman. The person who created Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia would never do that to Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. I know this for a fact because I saw the Star Wars prequels. Even if you don't like the prequels, George Lucas handled those characters with more reverence than Disney handles iconic Star Wars characters. Obi-Wan Kenobi, an iconic character. It can be argued that he failed at being a Jedi teacher, which inevitably caused a lot of people a lot of problems. However, he never failed at being a person. Okay? If your character fails at being a person, then invariably they're going to fail at everything else they do in that story. And that's kind of what Disney did to Luke Skywalker. He failed at being a person. He failed at being a productive member of society. And the reason he failed at these things was so that Rey could come in and succeed at being a person and succeed at being a productive member of society. Obi-Wan had always intended to return to the galaxy with Luke at his side so that they could save it from the Empire. Luke, well, he went off and intended to die on an island by himself and leave everyone else to a horrible fate. So that's the difference between beaten up old Luke and old Obi-Wan. What's the difference between young Luke and young Rey? Luke didn't need Obi-Wan to become a useless waste of space in order to become a hero himself. Obi-Wan was there to help Luke become a hero. He didn't necessarily make Luke a hero, but he definitely helped him. Rey needs Luke to become a useless waste of space so that she can become a hero. He's not going to help her become a hero. She's just going to become one by herself. This is the fastest way to get rid of an iconic character like Luke Skywalker. It's not the best way. The best way is to organically create a character that is well accepted and well thought out. So the question remains, why did Disney do it the way they did it? I've decided that the best way for me to explain the situation to you is through an illustration that hopefully all of you will be able to understand. One of my favorite movies was the very first Iron Man movie. And there's a scene where the villain, Obadiah, is trying to get his scientists to create an arc reactor the size of the one that Tony Stark created to save his life and power his suit. Now, the scientists understood arc reactor technology, but they only knew how to make one that was so big it needed its own lab. It could never fit inside of an Iron Man suit. And the villain, Obadiah, was furious about this. You know, he went on a rant. Tony Stark made a small one in a cave with a bunch of scraps. Why can't you do the same thing with, billions of dollars behind you? And the scientists looked at him and said, I'm not Tony Stark. There doesn't seem to be anyone at Lucasfilm with that much humility. At least no one who's in a position where that they're famous enough for you and me to know about them. As a 20-ish, 30-ish something-year-old man, George Lucas changed the face of filmmaking from a cave with a bunch of scraps. Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams have all the power of Lucasfilm and Disney behind them. But they don't have George Lucas. And clearly Lawrence Kasdan is not much of a help. So right now I'll read a little bit from the article that I saw regarding this topic. Star Wars fans claim to confirm anti-Luke Skywalker conspiracy theory at Disney. Prior to the release of The Last Jedi, one of the biggest points of contention among Star Wars fans was the quality of the prequel films. Yet the purchase of Lucasfilm by Disney has raised a new bizarre theory about the saga. Disney has an anti-Luke Skywalker agenda. During a recent episode of the web series Rebels Recon, some fans believe they have confirmed that agenda based on the way one employee decorated their desk. And it shows a tweet where it's got clear pictures of the evidence. This is Rebel Librarian's tweet, by the way. She's really cool. I've been subscribed to her, or I've been following her for a little bit, So shout out to Rebel Librarian. This needs to go viral. How much does Lucasfilm hate Star Wars? Hate what George Lucas built? Hate what fans value? If The Last Jedi wasn't enough to prove how much they hate Luke, check out the X on his face prominently displayed next to host Andy Gutierrez on an official channel. In the web series, host Andy Gutierrez offers a recap and insight into the recent episodes of the animated series Star Wars Rebels. The show often offers audiences glimpses of the studio's offices and its various decorations as it is filmed on location at Lucasfilm headquarters. While walking past one desk, an image of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader from Return of the Jedi can be seen, with Luke's face having a big red X drawn across it. Some Twitter users believe this was confirmation of an official anti-Luke bias, which motivated the character's death in The Last Jedi. Now, there's not much left to this article, but there is more, so I will post a link to it in the description box below. I was late posting the link to the article I did in my last video. I was rushing that day, and, well, things happened. So I will be sure to post it when the video goes live, and, that'll give you guys a chance to read it. But I think the situation is clear. Now, in some instances on, film sets or creative areas, there are reasons why characters may be crossed off a list, or crossed off some sort of way, That's usually going on when you're using that character and the character dies or something, maybe you cross them off. Considering the fact that The Last Jedi came out in December, and the filming has been done for countless months, and all the creative stuff has been over for even longer than that, I don't see a good reason why that picture would be posted up at this point. And also notable, I think, is that that picture seemed to be posted on someone's work area, but not on the inside of their little cubicle. It's on the outside, where it can be seen in the walkway. So in other words, this might not have been done by the person who uses that workspace. It could have been done by anyone who works there. The point is that everyone who works there is going to see it on a regular basis. And also notable is the fact that there are two characters in that picture, and only one of them is crossed off. Darth Vader is a character that, Disney can use anytime they want. They can throw him in countless movies like Rogue One or something. Or even the Solo movie. I mean, he's got value to them. He's the man in the mask, so they don't have to worry about getting aging actors to play him, and he's a villain. He's not a threat to a character like Rey or any other, heroic character that they want the audience to identify with. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and as always, if you're listening, you are the new rebellion.